The God of High School is one of many manhwa adaptations butchered in the last few years. Some people may look at that montage at the beginning and ask, how? And honestly, I get it. This anime had so much hype going in. People were basically begging for an adaptation years before Crunchyroll gave in. And to be fair, like most manhwa adaptations, God of High School started pretty strong. The unique look of the manhwa, the flashy art style translated very well into the anime. The opening was a banger, the soundtrack was a 10 out of 10 in my opinion, and don't even get me started on the amazing fights. The Mappa sweatshop went absolutely insane with the animation and choreography, some of the best in anime. But the deeper you go, the more you realize that this anime was just like an IG model. Pretty on the surface, but completely empty on the inside. And before the anime dropped, fans were noticeably worried because when it came out that the anime was only going to adapt 12 episodes and that they were adapting the first arc of the manhwa, the tournament arc, it made sense why people were worried. Cramming 118 chapters into 12 episodes was just a terrible idea, and it's so crazy to me. The biggest issue with this anime is the pacing. It was insanely fast. It was so bad that even anime-onlys could tell something was off somewhere. In literally the first episode, they skipped an entire fight between the main character and one of the agents for the tournament, which was a defining moment because it kind of gives you insights on what kind of person Jinmori was. And not only did they completely skip it, they addressed it in like 1 or 2 lines later. And I feel like them skipping this fight, it was kind of annoying, but most fans could let it slide. But they were not done yet. The pattern continued. Many character arcs were either blitzed through in like 1 episode or a couple of scenes, or were just completely skipped. And I'm not talking about the character arcs of side characters that no one cares about. I'm talking about main characters. One of the main characters of the show, Han Dewi, had an entire arc, emotional arc, in the anime where his best friend is sick and unfortunately passes away. They actually handled this in quite a good way with what they put in. But what they failed to do was faithfully adapt his redemption arc, his training arc, and how he grew stronger after his friend's death. That completely skipped. 2 of the main characters, Jinmori and Mira, both had insane power-ups during the tournaments. And Dewi, he just got a bubble. And in the manhwa, he was supposed to have this. And he is not the only main character that got absolutely done dirty by Mappa. The other 2 got done just as bad. But let's talk about Mira and her arc with the marriage proposal, where she tries to throw everything away because she thinks she has to keep her family's name. And it's a character development. She's supposed to grow out of that mindset. And a huge part of that in the manhwa was her relationship with her father and her sister. Completely cut out. In the manhwa, there was so much more emotional backstories and everything completely removed. Just gone. Because they tried to fit that whole thing into 1 episode. And don't even get me started on what they did to the power system. The power system in God of High School, it's no nen, but it's a pretty interesting and unique one a lot of animes don't really have. Most animes have very simple, repetitive power systems. God of High School had something new to show. And while they showcased how visually cool it was in the anime, their explanation of it was so weird. Most anime-onlys I've spoken to don't even know what it is. They just think it looks cool. They don't know how it's borrowing power from the gods. They explained it so badly. It's a wonder that people even understood it even a little bit. And in addition, it's not only the power system. Even the martial arts get explained so well in the manga. And in the anime, he just does the moves. And yeah, it looks cool, but they explain how the taekwondo works and how he does certain moves and how they work. I feel like they could have put that in there somehow. And the one that personally hurt me the most is what they did to Tat Jagal's fight. In the manhwa, this guy actually felt like a villain, not just a guy that you fought once and that was the end at the end of the season. Their fight with him lasted so many chapters. He actually bested them in combat for so long before they ended up succeeding in the end. In the anime, they struggled a bit and then they do this power of friendship thing and they absolutely destroy him. In the manga, he puts up so much more of a fight and he's so much more of a threat. And the fight is just so much longer. They cut out so many things. Even Dewi had one-on-one with him for a while. But that wouldn't have worked because guess what? They completely cut out Dewi's power-up. I hate this anime. These changes are some of the ones that hurt me the most. Talk to any other God of High School fan and they will tell you another change that hurt them because they did so much damage. They changed so many things to the point where I could even say it's not even the same universe at some point. Because if you remember Handewi's redemption, you would know that huge parts of that redemption arc was him training with another guy who was a previous fighter in the tournament. He was actually present in the anime as well. But the anime completely cut him out after he lost his fight, whereas in the manga, he trains Dewi and actually comes back in the second arc and he has an extremely huge role. The fact that they cut him and Dewi's training arc out shows that they never planned for a season 2. Season 1 was simply either promo for the manga or a petty crash grab. They wanted to profit off of people's love for the manhwa, which is not a good reason to make an anime at all. Yeah, sure, it looked great on the surface, but at the end of the day, a couple of years later, it's been completely forgotten about. So I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. God of High School honestly had everything. It had everything needed for an anime to succeed and more. It had preconceived hype before the anime. It had amazing animation. It was being produced by Mappa, one of the most well-known studios. Its soundtrack was amazing. And it was coming off of a solid source material that had some pretty good arcs as well. But instead of just trying to replicate the manga, they just tried to speed run the entire first arc, the first volume, with no intention of continuing, just because they wanted money. 12 episodes was way too short for an entire volume. It was way too short for 118 chapters. They should have had at least 24 episodes or done 2 cores. That would have at least had a lot of the character moments. And to all the manhwa fans, imagine if we actually got a season 2. Imagine we got the Sage arc. Imagine we got the God of War arc. Honestly, the character development, the amazing fights, the animation would have gone insane. And it really could have been up there with the GOATs. We've seen what happens when manhwas are adapted well. Look at Solo Leveling. It's literally on top of the world right now. It's competing with Invincible, which is insane. But instead, it's just going to go down in another entry of shit manhwa adaptations. And honestly, I feel like we need a remake because it really could have been something special. It really could have been up there in the Hall of Fame, and they messed it all up. I don't know why they keep doing this, and I'm going to keep doing a series on how these studios butcher manga adaptations. The next one is probably Dead Man Wonderland, so be looking forward to that.